And we're live. Hey, girl.
Here- Hey, hey,
How
here
are
we go.
you? You
I'm good. I'm
guys,
good.
you guys let us know when people come on. We're
Okay.
just we're just gonna how you doing? Did you work today?
I was actually off today. I worked yesterday. I was hunting today.
I worked yesterday too. For God's sakes, Sundays. But almost all of us are off on Mondays. That's a good
Yeah.
day to do whatever we want to do. Talk about stuff. Do we have people on? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this question. I've been grooming for a long, 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 long time. And there's always this question: to demat or not demat? So I'm just going to give you my opinion on that. And then I want to know your opinion on that. And I'm sure we're going to have people, charm
Wait.
in and ask questions and maybe give us their opinion. But
Right.
and it's kind of like, well, time goes by and people think different ways, and maybe prices went up since what, 25 years ago. I can tell you for sure
Most
that
definitely.
prices went up. And so to me, if you know how to demat and the client wants it, then you should definitely demat. This is my opinion. Now, properly dematted dog is not going to be hurt, is not going to be stressed out. It's going to take a lot longer, which means it's going to be a lot more money. So that's kind of how I feel about it and how I see it. Okay, so if somebody brings you past 10 years, maybe even more, I've only shaved maybe 5 dogs. That's maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Necessarily. So, I mean, they were so pelted, there was no dematting them. And there was only a few times in like many years that I could remember back. So it's money, and it's knowing what you're doing with that. Because a lot of groomers out there, and I know it for a fact, think that demat a dog is torture a dog, and to
Yeah.
demat a dog is hurting a dog, which could absolutely be so wrong. It's not even funny. So, educating yourself on how to demat, if you want to, will bring you more money and more satisfaction in what you're doing creatively. So, what you think about that? I know you love to demat, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. I mean, I've known you for years and years, and I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that prep is one of the most important things for
Yeah.
you, which for me as well. I absolutely 1,000,000% agree with you. And then dematting. So I want to know what you feel, how you feel about that. Do you charge to demat and all those things?
Well, I'm gonna tell you everything. I tell you right off the bat, everything that you've said is pretty much how I felt. I wouldn't say I got into dematting, but I was really focused, like you said, on prep work and doing prep work and improving my prep work. I actually learned that during prepping releases a lot of the mats. And
Well,
it was
yeah.
kind of like a light bulb, like
Mm-hmm.
ding, you know? When you don't rush through prep work, you have a better outcome. And may I really, really stress prep work. Number one, that's like for me, that's like 90% of the groom.
It
Prep
is.
work is the most important.
I'd
That's how
say
I feel.
75
Yeah.
probably, because
So
you still need to know how to scissor a dog.
oh, of course, of
Right.
course. But I've seen
So,
people try to scissor wet dogs and then wondering why they're not getting that same
oh
outcome.
yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
right.
you
Yeah.
can scissor the heck out of a wet dog, you're not gonna have it look good.
Yeah.
So and I really, really was like that in the beginning, where I was really afraid of hurting dogs, and but I really wanted to expand my grooming like talent, like skills. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all these dogs are coming in that I want to do these special things, and every single one have a not here, not there, mat there. I'm like, and I'm like shaving down all these dogs, and it's like none of them are allowing me to do these things that I want to do, and it's like there has to be a different way. There has to be a different way. So and like you said, with dematting, it costs us time. There's a way to do things. Now, I'm not going to be saying that I knew this right off the bat. Of course not. In the
Nobody
beginning,
does. Nobody does. Like, you got to
right?
go through self-education. You got to go
Mm-hmm.
and kind of peek at other people and
Right.
choose what you want to steal kind of and use in
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
practice, or ask
Mm-hmm.
questions, obviously, and whoever doesn't want to answer, you just steal. Hey,
Right.
I
Right.
see nothing wrong with that, because that's education.
Yeah, and as you know me, I've been self-taught. I just kind of trial and error, try this, try that. Granted, I did take, information and learn from different things, different people, especially you. But majority of the things that I picked up on was trial and error, me trying. Unfortunately, my poodle that passed away at 18, I did a lot of mistakes on her, my poor baby girl, but she is the door that opened up me into grooming and learning how to do a lot of things. Um,
There's no other way
so
you're going to learn unless you make mistakes. There's
right,
absolutely nothing.
right,
And another thing is, we're not regulated. So
mm-hmm,
you don't go to school and you don't take that full course like hairdressers do.
mm-hmm,
And, they're pretty intense with the education to get that license. We don't have that.
right,
So
right.
whatever educational things that we do in this industry is strictly taken voluntarily. So nobody makes you.
Mm-hmm. It
So
starts with
I'm
a passion.
self-taught. Like, exactly. I'm self-taught too. So
Yeah,
I know I never went to school, and I know how I learned, and that's how
right,
and if you're passionate about it, and if you care about animals that you work
mm-hmm,
with, that you kind of instinctively are going to choose techniques and tools that are going to help you and not hurt the animal.
exactly. Enhance. And if you
Yeah,
do the
enhance.
technique, you do the techniques correctly, you're going to save yourself also, because I know I hear a lot of groomers complaining that it hurts my hands, hurt me this, hurt this, because you're not doing it right. If you're over here ripping and doing all of this stuff, you're hurting the animal and you're hurting yourself.
Yeah,
There's many ways and techniques using the tools that you're supposed to that are going to prevent this from happening. But I mean, this is the thing that kind of gets me. A lot of groomers, I feel like, don't have the foundation or the fundamentals that they need. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, they would love to do the dematting, but from the beginning where they were taught, oh, don't do dematting. Some shops don't even have tools. They're not even allowed to touch those.
yeah,
So the only other option is just shave it off.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I
Well, I
and I
gotta
found that I
say, yeah, everybody, I'm sorry. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I
Well,
was saying it's like they don't have those access to those things, or even if they wanted to, they're not permitted to even be able to learn. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, and it's a really touchy subject too, because these are people's animals, these are people's children, their pets. You don't
yeah,
have freedom of trying all these things, and God forbid if we hurt a dog, cut a dog, whatever, it's like the whole world ended and we're the
yeah,
most horrible people in the world. So I
yeah,
truly understand that. But that doesn't have to limit yourself from the abilities to enhance your skills. Now, as far as like dematting, to me, my opinion, I demat 100%. One thing that you did say, pelted is different. Pelted and dematting is completely different.
it is completely different. Absolutely. Yeah.
Dog walks in to my salon and looks like they've been living in the gutter somewhere, and you can literally like see the skin lifted off their body, and they have like a mohawk of like hair.
Yeah.
That's completely
Well, the dog is already hurt
right.
walking in your shop.
Right.
And I just want to step back a little bit and say to our groomers out there, If you see something like that in your lobby and you know 100% you're going to have to shave and pretty close, make that owner sign a release
Mm-hmm.
form, because it's not going to be your fault if you
Mm-hmm.
ever hurt the dog shaving a pelted animal like that. So the risks are hematoma on the ear, right?
Right. Right.
That's number one. A couple of times, like I said, lately, I have done a couple of them, and I know I tried and it worked. I don't know if you did that. You tell me. I put, as soon as I shaved the ear pelt off, I put ice on it.
Yeah. Cold compress.
Yeah,
Because preventing
it's
all that blood from rushing to those areas that wasn't. It's kind of like when you wrap a rubber band on your finger, you know. I
and
don't
then
know if
you
you done
take
that
it
as a
off
kid.
and it goes,
you,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it like
You
rushes and
can,
it tingles and it's like, ah, that's what they
yeah,
feel. Most
right,
definitely.
right. But then that it rushes in too fast because the
Mm-hmm.
blood wasn't coming in there for a long time, usually. And then you stop that flow from rushing in too fast with
Right.
the cold compress or the ice or whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to put on it, it needs to be cold. And if there's no ice, there's a refrigerator, get a can of soda and put it on the ear, because
Right.
you're going to end up with the hematoma. And then what happens? What happens? They go to the vet blames you.
I was gonna say, yeah, you know this. They're like mortal enemies. Me and the bed. Like everything is us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So, but in all reality, whose fault is that? The owners.
exactly.
And
You
so
know what?
that,
I go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, 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 go ahead.
So I'm really, really extremely big with communication. I think that's another big thing that groomers need to do with their clients.
Huge.
Communication. Do not take a dog back without speaking to the owner. I don't care if a receptionist is that's their job. It is your job to speak with the client about their dog before you take that dog back. That covers fleas, ticks, mats, skin irritations, cuts, bruises, anything that you see. Because once they are behind your doors, anything could happen, and it's really hard to prove um that that was there before. Sometimes it
It's
takes.
not possible to prove. It's not possible
Right.
because owners don't see a lot of stuff that we see.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
once we get the dog back, we see stuff that they didn't see and they think it's us.
Exactly.
So, exactly, yes. Communication, number one in the
Hmm.
lobby, always. I believe that the groomer has to come out and speak to the owner
Hmm.
about the dog in particular.
100%.
The receptionist has their own job. They make appointments, they answer the phone calls,
Cash people
blah blah
out.
blah. But if yeah, but when the animal is actually in your door, the
Hmm.
stylist that's going to groom that dog is going to have to go or a manager who
Right.
is a pet groomer and
Hmm.
not just
That's a big one there. They don't even know how to touch dogs, but they're managing. I mean, that's another topic.
no,
But
the manager has to be a dog groomer
please,
with
but
some of
like
the
I'm
experience.
yeah, most definitely. I'm really
Yeah.
big with that. If I see that coming in, first step first, hey, you got this on your ears. And and believe me, I do a lot of dematting, yes, and I'll go into why I do the dematting because it has worked great in my favor because of my options that I give clients. I give them a lot of options, and I'm very, very transparent. I tell them straight to their face. A, B, or C. That's it. You know, granted,
Yep.
yes, they may take the route of keeping their dogs, or dematting their dogs for say, but um, I let them know, hey, we're doing this because we first meeting. You're first coming to me. We're gonna do this first time. You need to be on this schedule. If you're not on this schedule, we're not doing it again. Period. And if we are now, granted, we all have pets, and we know, especially with long hair, or curly coats, you can put, I don't know, a bow, a harness, or whatever for one day, and there's mats. It
Yep.
happens. I did it to did it to Nira for Christmas. My Carrie Blue. I wanted her to wear a Christmas sweater because everybody was wearing Christmas sweater, but I knew it was going to cause issues. But I literally have it like a half a day. Took it off. she had mats already. I'm like, are you kidding me? So,
Yeah.
so it's like it happens. So it's like we cannot just go with that mind frame that 100% the customer is negligent or
No, 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 no. I'm not
they're
saying that. I was
yeah.
talking about pelted.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, going back to the pelted, pelted is just we're shaving down. There's no
Listen, my
option for that.
dog's mat. Your dog's mat. They
Right,
mat. It's just
right,
period. This dog I just
right.
picked up mats every week,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not neglected and pelted. There's a
Exactly,
difference.
exactly. That's my drawing point. That's my line. I don't go past there. There, I will never ever demat a pelted dog.
No,
Just
no,
there's
no,
no
no.
point. Yeah. So,
But I
and
know
it,
I see on social media a little mat in the armpit, a little mat behind the ear. Groomers
mhm.
are all up in arms. I'm shaving that dog.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, but it's your job.
Hmm.
It's your job. It is your job. You are
I'm glad you
not
said that.
supposed to be grooming clean, combed out, beautifully groomed dogs. That's not your job.
Thank
And I'm going
you.
to say something controversial, which I say every time, and all the groomers go, don't say anything to me, but I see the faces. I do not believe in owners brushing their dogs, period.
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back.
I do not believe in owners brushing their dog. I also strongly, strongly dislike, not to say a very bad word, groomers shaming people
Mm-hmm. Yep.
for not brushing their dogs. It's not their job, it's yours.
Exactly.
Now, your job is to communicate, which you just said, and I 100% agree. You communicate, you ask the client what they would like to get out of the grooming their dog in
Mm-hmm.
the future, right now, whatever it is, because we serve those people. We do
Right.
need to do what they like.
We provide a service.
We provide a service. So you ask your client, what is it that your goal, how would you like your dog to look in the future? And somebody with a 130-pound doodle tells you, oh, I want him to be long like Brody.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. You will have to bring your dog here every week.
Right.
Every week, like a clock. You would have to be here 1 week for a bath, 1 week for a tidy, for the rest of his life. And I
Right.
can promise you, I can deliver the look that you would like.
Yep.
If you do not follow the schedule that I'm asking you to follow, then your dog is going to be shaved.
Yep.
And it's your option. If when you were buying a doodle and when you had, but I can't afford it. Well, this is where this comes from. When you
Mm-hmm.
were buying this dog and when you saw Brody on social media and you wanted your dog to look that way, this is what it's going to take. Did you think about the money? If you didn't, then this style is not going to happen.
For you.
So there's your options. We could do whatever, but I will never tell my client to go home and brush your dog. What your job is to bring that dog to me as often as I'm telling you to bring that dog to me.
Exactly.
And if you cannot afford it, which is totally understandable, hey, we've been there, we've done that.
Right. Right.
If you cannot afford it, I can offer you a much shorter haircut that would last you about 2 to 3 months. And then
Exactly.
you can pay for your haircut once in 3 months and you don't have to brush your dog. Because you know what it does? It always ends up in disappointment in both sides. always. Because an owner comes in and says, I brush this dog all the time. I just brushed him this morning. And then you touch and there's a pelt underneath this feathers on top that people are brushing. I can't blame them for that. They are not dog groomers. They don't know what they're doing. I appreciate the effort, but I don't want you to do it because
Good try.
you
but
really, you try, but you really don't
yeah.
know how to do it. So, and then, well, will you teach me? No, because then you're taking my job. Everybody has to stay in their lane. I am a dog groomer. You're a lawyer. You're not supposed to brush your dog. I am. So, period.
Right.
Do we
There's one.
have any comments about that? Because
I'm
groomers
sure we
don't
have
like
some.
when
I
I
know
say
we
that.
sure have some.
Or questions.
We do have some questions.
Let's
Well,
do this.
A question specifically about the process. Like, how do you go about dematting? I mentioned that Annette has a really good video about
Yes,
dematting.
I was
Like,
just
she
gonna
goes
I was
into
say
the
gonna say,
whole process.
check out that
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Check out that video. I
but
break
if
it
you-
down.
If you can give her like a summary.
Of course, yeah, we were getting to that next.
Yeah. And
There
then,
is,
and then just to add on to that, and you guys already touched it, but you know, pelts and how they can put you behind schedule too much. if
yeah,
try
but
to
you
go for it.
charge for your time.
Exactly.
No matter how long it's gonna take you to shave that pelt, don't rush. Charge for your time is what
You know
I
what?
would suggest.
Pina, you know what I do when it comes to scheduling with those type of things? I kind of
Yes.
look at this time. For example, a
Yeah.
brand new customer calls me up and says, I have a 80-pound doodle, which to me is a standard size doodle.
Yeah.
Never seen that dog before. I tell him, send me a picture. I already can tell it's not been properly brushed or anything. I can really tell from the picture, right? So what I do is I schedule myself 3 to 4 hours. I already know. Now, granted, if it's less than great, whatever. But my brand new customers are going to have a more allotted time, right?
Of course, yeah.
And
You have to
then
know what you're working with.
exactly, I'm not going to double book myself. I'm not going to put like dogs in between because first you're going to rush. Second of all, you're not going to do a good job. You got to give yourself some time. Now, as a regular customer, right? Example, you have a regular customer. The last time they came in, they've always been on a regular schedule of 4 weeks or 3 weeks, and you know that they're consistent and the dog has been good. But they called and canceled their last appointment. I haven't seen them for 6 weeks. I know that dog is going to be mad at me. Guess what? Before I reschedule that dog, I'm going to give it more time because I already know. I'm not going to do that because, first of all, you're going to run into your next appointment. And I tell them, like I said before, I'm very transparent with my customers. They know me. They know how I operate. They're not going to question my prices. I charge the standard fee of what I charge for the size of the doodle, plus full body dematting. When I call it full body dematting, when it's not just ears, tail, like what I call living knots, living mats, things because the dog is alive. It's gonna have parts where the body is
Yeah.
moving that these tangles happen. But what I'm saying is, I know I haven't seen them 6 weeks. They have 5 inches of hair growth because the last time I did it, 22. I know it's gonna be tangled, so I'm adding more time before I reschedule them.
That's a good tip on
Granted, I may not have
scheduling
time.
those dogs. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I let them know, hey, you haven't been here this amount of time. There's probably some of my customers know me so well, they'll be like, Annette, yeah, he's got mats. Okay, thank you for letting me know. And I'll come in. I'm like, okay, well, that's $100 on top of your regular price of what your groom is going to be today, because you already know, because they don't question me. Now, the new customers, they have no idea. Sometimes they're in shock because they're honestly going out paying $300 to $400. You know.
Listen, if we're in these times that we're in right now, we have so much technology. You can put your phone on record for your new client and record all that dematting and all those mats close up. So there's no conversation afterwards.
Right, right.
And like in real time, just put it on the stand and record 30 minutes and let them see how much you've done in 30 minutes. Freaking nothing. if it's a big doodle and you're dematting it, right? So they have some kind of concept of how long it takes and how
Right.
slow and careful you have to be working on that. And that's, I'm not saying record the whole dog, but I'm saying
But the
in real
process,
time,
right.
20 minutes, the process, so they could kind of add and multiply in their head how much it's going to take for the whole dog. So
Yeah.
it's technology. We have all these
Yeah.
phones, everything is out there. So we can
Yeah.
actually show it to our clients. So
Right.
I would love for you to kind of in simple words go through your process. Let's say it's a 25-pound cockapoo and it's got living mats. Your armpits, behind the ears, your tuck up, your under the loin kind of
Yep.
area, the waist, the regular places, the usual
Yes.
suspects. And of course, probably on the feet, between the toes. That's your live mats that could be completely dematted and a beautiful haircut could be given.
Yeah.
So go through your process,
Okay.
including your product.
Okay. Well, the first thing I do is I take the dog straight to the bath. I do not try to brush, demat, or any of that when the dog's dirty. Don't do it. One, all that debris, all that dirt, all that oil. Owners have lotion, perfumes, if they touch their dog, it gets in their hair. No, I take it straight to the bath, clarifying to get all that stuff off of the hair. Um, I'll
Plus, you're
use
gonna break the coat when you demat dry.
exactly,
More,
exactly.
more than after conditioning. Yeah.
Right, definitely. Um, Also, even if, and I'll put this little part here, even if I feel like I'm not going to be able to do the same length as I did before because there is a good amount, I still don't try to put my clipper through that hair until after the dirt and everything has been removed because also I'm going to be destroying my clipper with all that sand. I mean, living here in Florida, people like to take their dogs to the beach and they come in with sand, and that sand is little bits of rocks that goes right through your blades and dull them right out.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
So first step, straight to the bathtub. I do a good clarifying, good wash. Then I'll do a shampoo. Sometimes I use a detangling shampoo, and then I'll throw in some conditioner in there too. And I'll do 3 baths at least, depending on how dirty, maybe 4, but 3 baths. So we got the clarifying shampoo and then the conditioner. I have this little habit, maybe not be the best one, but I don't always dilute my conditioners because I really want them to get in between the mats, and I work them in there. And sometimes I can pull it apart in the bathtub. It's on the video there too. And I use that after all of that, and I feel like that has been washed completely out. It's straight to the force dryer. I dry there, and this is where 90% of my mats come out. This
Yeah.
is what saves your wrist
Yep.
right here. Using the force of the dryer to separate the hair. A lot of these mats are pretty much have a found like a how you say, like a root almost.
It's got a root and it's like a web.
Right, exactly. So, and that main root, usually it started somewhere, right? That mat started somewhere and it just kind of spread out everywhere. And usually when you do the force drying, it will open up the whole, like the outside, like you said, there's webs, the spider webs is what I call it. You can actually see them like break apart, little
Yeah,
pieces,
yeah, yeah. You
right?
can. Yeah.
You can see them
The
break apart.
correct angle of that nozzle as well is very important.
And the
I
fact that you're
also,
not rushing and doing this when you're
yeah,
drying the dog.
exactly.
This you can't. I always tell it whenever I have someone that I'm teaching them how to prep, slow down. Slow down. Don't go
Yeah.
leg, butt, head, shoulder, leg, butt, and you're just flipping the dryer all over the place.
Slow
First of
down
all, you're
and
stressing
follow
out the dog.
through.
Right. And then you wonder why the dog looks dry on the outside and the inside they're like moist and mildewy and all that nice blowout that you did 10 minutes later as the curls came back because it was actually humid from the inside. You didn't dry it from the skin out. You dried it from the outside.
Yeah.
So That's a really, really big thing about taking the knots. If you take your time, you're gonna see those mats break open and separate on its own. Separate on its own. Whatever is left usually is hanging by a piece or somewhere that you can actually, it's separated already from the skin to where you can get a dematting tool underneath with space, because now you have a space and you can work it through. Working, not ripping, working it through.
No ripping anywhere, guys. No ripping anywhere. And trust me, and Annette knows, and she's done it a million times as well. You don't have to rip anything.
Right.
So
There's no rip.
there's another little tip that I usually give my students when I teach them how to prep and demat with oh, I don't have it here. With a nozzle of a force dryer, you can actually mat the dog. You
Yeah.
can actually make it worse. So the simple rule that worked for me and my students is when you forcing the coat into the dog, you're gonna keep your nozzle. This is the length of the coat, and you're gonna keep your nozzle exactly the distance from the tip to the nozzle. That way, what you're gonna find is it's gonna spread the coat all the
Yeah.
way to the ends.
You're stretching it.
Yes. So when you're too close, let's say you're half the distance of the length, right? You're gonna go and stretch that half, and
Yep.
whatever's on the side is gonna go under and mat. Yep.
You're gonna have like those
Become a
we call them
web.
whip knots, I think.
Yeah. So
My
always
middle school
remember, right? So always remember the nozzle is as far as the length of the coat.
Yeah.
From the tip of the hair, not from the skin. This is the length of the coat, and from here to here, that's where your nozzle is.
Yeah.
Exactly the same length.
And also the speed, that exact thing, and the speed. You going zipping through and zipping
Yeah,
through and
no,
zipping
don't
through.
do that. Yeah.
Don't do that, because all you're doing is whipping the hair around itself, and you're just creating more knots. If you slow down, let the hair chance to open and spread, you're gonna
Yeah.
see it. And when I started doing that, I did notice. I call it in a Spanish version called planchao, like flattening hair, like flat ironing your hair.
Yeah, yeah.
You can actually see the curls from the skin start to straighten. And that's when you know that the hair is dry and stretched out. Then you can move on to the next section.
Yeah.
If you go back and you still see curls by the skin, that means the hair was not dry. It's still humid or moist. And I use moist. I had a friend that told me, stop using moist. It doesn't sound right when you say that.
It's okay. It's fine. You're talking to me, girl. You could say moist.
It was moist, but so you're really big. You can see that. You can see the difference. I don't move, especially for doodles to have that flawless like airbrush look when you scissor. You have to have the hair stretched.
Well,
You cannot
exactly. It's the prep. It's most of
prep.
it is a prep.
Yeah.
So,
So
how much do you dry with force dryer? Like, give me a percentage.
I dread the gone completely force drying.
Okay, so like almost 100%.
Almost 90%. And I say 90% because that 10% might be that dog that really doesn't allow you doing his face.
Right, right. So like 95%.
Right.
Okay.
Leg is going to be 100% dry before I get to the other leg. That leg is going to be 100% dry before I get to the middle. That's 100%. And before I move. And like I said, it's all visual. It's not just touch, because I mean, groomers, I know that it's really hard to tell when the dog's dry when your hand's been washing the dog. But use your other senses. Use your eyes. Look at the coat. Look what it looks like. The fur, the fibers of the hair. What does it look like? Does it look still wavy? Does it look curly? That means it's not completely dry. Once it's completely dry, then you can move on to the next section. Honestly, when I get to my table, after all of that has been done, if that dog did not allow me to do his face, usually I can do the back of the head and stuff like that, all the way up to the ears and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That right there, the rest is the hand dryer. But I always focus on that first when I get to the table after that process is done, because I don't care what nobody says. That's the focal point of the groom. Owners see their dog, they go and kiss the face. They look at the face. They don't look at the leg. Oh, that's a lovely butt. You know, they don't do that. They want to see the cute face. You
Yeah, the
cannot let
face
a dog
is
go out with wet
first they
faces.
see. Yeah.
Right. Wet faces just destroys everything. You cannot let that just go out there wet. And, you know, I get a lot of people, oh, I can't because the dog doesn't let me. There's so many different ways
There is a
to
million ways. Yeah.
that you can dry that dog's face. I've taken my time and like been like this far away with my dryer under my neck, you know, drying, and I'm brushing like this just so the dog will let me do it. And on a regular basis, and that dog comes on a regular basis, they already know the process and they get better and better and better
They do.
accustomed to it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do.
So maybe the first time maybe won't be so great, but after that it does get better. But at least your face looks good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So 90 to 95% force dry, and then you do fluff dry.
yes. So I'll get
Okay.
to the table. After I do the face, then I go up the legs with the hand dryer. But my focus to make sure that face is 100% dry before I take the hand dryer, or yeah, my hand dryer, and go back over the body. And this is where I'm fluffing, combing up, opening up the rest. Now,
Against the
granted,
grain.
yeah, against the grain. Granted, it does look already like stretched out from the force dry because I took so much time doing it. But this just is kind of like I said, plancha. Like it puts that like I don't know how you like
Puts
the
a
stamp
flat
on it.
iron, flat iron
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
stayed.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to flat iron that straight curls to make it stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
So in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, when they go home, it doesn't come back. I have so many customers saying, "Oh my God, my dog stayed fluffy for like 2 weeks. What did you do?" And
Yeah, I
it's
know.
funny though because I have people they'll run outside with their dog if it rains. They're like, I don't want it to get curly. Like they usually throw like a towel and they're like running into their car and stuff like that, you know, because they know it lasts and they know as soon as that water hits that curls, the hair, the curls come back.
Yep.
So, um, and then that also too, all that time and effort that you're doing, you're gonna have a good finish. You're gonna be, you're able to charge for the time that you spent. But though that's my pretty much my process. Now, when I get to the table and I'm brushing out, I want to say probably 60% of the time, whatever mats are left in the hair, once I get to the hand drying and the brushing up, they come right out. I really don't send, I really don't spend time uh like going over mats. Now, if they had like a little dreadlock hanging from behind the ear or something like that, there's still enough space that I can get the curve dematter and kind of work it in there and take it out and boom, I'm done. That's it. My arms, my wrists are not in pain. You know,
Yeah.
um, so
You
I
don't
I see
have to
that a lot.
rip, you don't have to strain your hands, well, my shoulders hurt anyway, but
Yeah.
my wrist is really messed up, but I can still work and it's not really, it
Hmm.
was hurting for a while, but I'm okay now. And it took me 36 years to get to this point. I never had, I never had a carpal tunnel or anything. So this is
Yeah.
just, my ligaments couldn't take it anymore. So they ripped.
You know, it's
Ripped.
funny though. My hands hurt, but it's not from dematting. My hands hurt because, as you know, we're short. I have small hands, and my body's short. And I get these big doodles, and they don't want to let me hold their legs, so they're doing that jerky thing. That's what's really actually hurting me. It's not the motion of dematting. It's just me working with big dogs. I think at one point I might get to the point where I'm not going to do any more big dogs, but that's what really is messing me up because I'm
Yeah,
little.
come on. You're what, 8 years old? Stop
Thank
it.
you.
Stop it.
You won't believe it, but I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No,
But
no, I know, but you're still 8. Okay, so.
okay.
All right. Next. So
Questions?
we all know, any questions, anything that we can answer or talk about that groomers are writing?
Somebody disagreed with bathing a dog with mats. Always
Okay.
brush before the bath.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys want to talk on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's it. That's really the only thing.
Okay. So
They
somebody
disagree.
disagreed with bathing the dog with mats. So I could kind of see, because I hear all kinds of questions. How do you rinse soap completely out of the mats. I tell you what I do. I split him with the fingers with the shampoo and conditioner.
Right.
And we're not, again, guys, remember, we're not talking pelted.
Right. No, we're not talking about
We're
river
not
seat.
talking pelted will be shaved. We're talking dematting reasonably so you can charge for extra time and give a dog a cute, nice haircut.
Right.
If the
right.
client wants it. That's what we're talking about. So if there's a, plus me, I use a bathing brush in the tub. And so for me, the process would be first splitting with the fingers and then lightly tapping with the bathing brush. And so it's not a mat anymore. And then it rinses fine. Obviously, if you put the dog in the tub with mats, soap it, shampoo it, and then try to rinse it with the original mat, it's very difficult to get the soap out. I get it. But there's a process inside of the tub that I do. Do you use a bathing brush or just your fingers?
I do, especially when I find, like, for example, the dogs that have, I don't know, they have food or stuff stuck on their face and it's like caked on. Yeah, and I see that it's not coming off. I'll do a brush to break off whatever debris is stuck there and help it be released. Talking about that, I will tell you something. I don't do the pelted. Granted, I have my dematting blade that I noticed there's like more of a rescue. A dog came in, it's been rescued, and whatever the case may be, and I have to shave everything down. But I will say that I've been in an occasion where, let's say, I don't know, Maltese, they just seem to be one of the ones that get that little two-layer mats. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like that layer of thick, hard mats and then the fluff on the top. Because owners try, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of tell the owners, listen, they're pretty mad at it. I don't think I'll be able to like keep it super fluffy. We're not going to do 3 inches on this dog. It's not happening. But I'll do whatever I can. I still tell them that. And a lot of times with the cleaning and the force dryer, the mats are there and it's still going to be pretty tough. But there's a space in between that you could pass a 4 or a 5 where it's not a 10 all over. You know what I mean?
Right. So,
And you give them options.
yeah, end of the day, use your common sense.
Right, exactly. We're not going to put somebody that's been tied up to a tree for 6 months and the dog looks
Yeah,
like
use
one
your
of the
common
homeless
sense.
dogs.
If you feel like let's say a Pomeranian or a double-coated dog like a Chow Chow, very similar to Pomeranian, right? I would put that dog in the tub completely matted, straight from the hands or the floor. I don't let them give me the dog from the hands into the tub. And then the masks, the conditioners, the brushes
Exactly.
will definitely separate that and rinse everything out. So there's different ways, there's different conditions, different levels of matting. So guys, use your common sense. What we're trying to say is that if you see a dog that's kind of matted, don't automatically shave it. You can save it and you can demat it safely. You will take your time, slow down, don't rush, charge.
Yep.
And that's what we're talking about. We're definitely not talking about dematting pelted dogs. That's for sure.
No.
Nobody's going to do that. But also keep those safety procedures also intact when you're shaving a pelted dog, like we were talking about, signing a form, ice on the ears. You could put ice on extremely matted parts as well, because they might get rush of blood and a hot spot after that. They might scratch themselves out and make hamburger meat out of themselves, and that could happen. So keep that in mind. But we're just promoting common sense, skill, and safety, pretty much.
Yeah. Just don't rush right into that and choose to just, the easier route, because honestly, one of the things that I was going to do is knowing the anatomy, knowing the parts of a dog too.
Okay.
Question?
Yep.
I felt like it was a good transition. How would you accommodate a whole body demat in mobile? Often our schedules are written for the year. And then it's twofer. Also, let's say you cannot accommodate a weekly appointment, but maybe a bi-weekly, and a client needs mobile. Would it be wrong to ask them to contribute by brushing at home?
They're not going to do a good job, dude. 99% of the time. Why would you want them to do it where it's not going to do anything for you? 99% of the time. Yes, I have met owners that did a pretty decent job. They understood for some reason. I don't know, but it's such a rare occasion, guys. They will not do what you need them to do for you. You're still going to get a dog in your mobile that's matted, even though they're brushing it. And I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Yes, like I'm saying, absolutely there's exceptions, but there's so little of them. It's not even worth talking about. And
If they want the
mobile is a different thing, right, Annette?
Yeah,
you're
I feel
absolutely
like-
right. Is a good question with timing. I feel like mobile should be more regularly scheduled for the dogs that really want long coats,
Right.
kind of like that. But I am no one to talk about it. I kind of know how it works, but I've never done mobile. Have you ever done mobile?
No, I've never done mobile, and that's a little bit of a different circus animal for me. The only thing I could say is on that aspect, um, communication, very important. Communicating with the customer, what are they able to do? That would be my answer. If you did, let's say, a big fluffy 22 all over on a doodle, right? And this lady or whoever your client is, you know that they're not going to ask you for another appointment for another 6 weeks, ma'am, sir, we're probably not going to be good at this length. Since I only see you every
Yeah,
3
you gotta
months,
change.
let's
Yeah,
just go here.
yeah.
If they're
I
willing,
think I feel like you gotta change the length. That if the want is unrealistic, then you gotta communicate. Because is Sophia Staples in here?
That's who asked the question.
oh,
Well, then she needs to explain that. Because I am no.
scheduling for mobile, I can't either do.
I
Yeah.
can't speak for mobile that much. I mean, I kind of understand how it works just because I've been in this industry for a very long time.
right.
But I've never actually worked the mobile.
She said most of my clients are on a tight schedule, but
Yes.
their question is in reference to new clients.
Oh, then I would do, listen, again, I don't know how it works with mobile. Can you do
Yeah.
an extra hour for a new client, kind of like initial consultation appointment, and then
Right.
go from there? I don't know, but this is how I feel it will work. And
Or an evaluation at first to see that dog first.
like Sophia, you know better than that. I don't believe in people brushing their dogs at home. But
you know,
I would
you
be-
know what you did when you asked that question.
But I think, no, but jokes aside, I think communication is very important, and an extra hour or whatever you feel like you need for like initial consultation.
right,
If your
right.
company allows you to do that, that's another thing. If you work for a mobile company, there's a completely different. See,
Dropped
my ears are horrible with these. My ears don't hold anything in.
We're gonna
So-
sip some. I'm gonna drink my water on that one.
Okay, I'm going back to serious.
Okay.
So I'm just, throwing some common sense ideas on mobile, which don't listen to me because I've never worked it. And I'm going to say it again. I have never done mobile. But again,
Yeah.
use your common sense. And and again, in mobile and not mobile, it's the same thing with the first consultation about that person's goal for their dog.
Right.
And you as a professional need to stand there and look at the person, the dog, the car they're driving, and make a common sense decision and realistic expectation kind of conversation. All right,
Right.
so I know what you like, but this is what's realistic. And kind of go from there. And if you talk to people with respect and don't, like I said, don't shame them into anything or about anything, they will actually listen to you
Can I,
most of the time.
most of the time, there's something that I will throw in there that I'm probably going to get static on this too. One of my pet peeves that I hear a lot of groomers say that it really like, I'm going to teach them a lesson. I'm
Yeah,
going to shave them from nose
guys.
to tail so they will learn to take care of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you teaching? That they don't have to come back 6 months later because the dog is bare naked? What are you teaching? You're not teaching anything.
Do you
You
guys
know what I'm saying?
understand that there's so many groomers out there that if they don't like a tone of voice that you're speaking to them, a lot of times they just turn around and say, "There's a groomer around the corner. What? Why do I have to take this here?" And maybe
Exactly.
I'll pay
Exactly.
less money and get a little less beautiful haircut, but people are gonna talk to me
Treat them in more
respect.
respect.
Listen, this is also a big factor here. All people have ego, guys. And we're here providing a service. And I don't believe that a customer is always right. I have never believed that. But I believe in respecting each other.
Right.
Being
And giving them opportunity.
transparent, yes. Being transparent, giving people choices and realistic expectations as a professional. Because they're not.
Right.
Like if
I
my
have-
client is, like I already said, let's keep that example, a lawyer. If I need an advice from an attorney, am I going to tell him what to do? I'm going to sit there and listen and do whatever he tells me to do. And then I'm going to go into my Zelle and send him shitload of money without asking any questions. Because he's the professional that I need services from. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
kind of mutual respect for each other's profession and be transparent. I'm very transparent with my people.
Yeah.
And they like
thing.
it. Most of them like it, and whoever doesn't like it, they're not there anymore. And I'm
Exactly.
happy.
You get fired if you're not even want to communicate. If you don't want to work together and you don't respect me as much as I respect you, you're just fired. I do fire people all the time.
Yeah, but I don't even fire a lot. I have fired people before, but they just kind of just go away
That's true. They kind of fall off and they did it to themselves.
on their own,
Yeah.
and then the new people come in. This is an energy exchange anyway. You lose 2 people, you get 4 back.
I was gonna say that, Pina. That's a big thing too. People that don't appreciate your time and willing to pay for your work are gonna fall off, and they're gonna be replaced for people who do value your time. So, granted,
That
yes,
always happens.
you're not gonna make me feel bad when they tell me, "Oh my gosh, you're too expensive." Bye. Because
No,
I have
I'm not
people
too
that drive far.
expensive. You just can't afford me.
Exactly.
That's
Because
a
you know what you're
completely
getting.
different
And then they'll
kind
come
of.
back. They'll come back and be like, "Oh well, yeah, I took them A, B, C, and D, and I didn't get the same results." And they come back and they either one apologize or we work out a schedule. I don't punish people because a lot of things is they don't know any better. A lot of times they just don't know, or they had bad experiences somewhere else.
What
And
right do you have to punish your client? I don't understand. There's no
there's no
right.
point of punishing.
No
I
point,
never
no
understood
right.
that.
The relationship between a service provider and the client should be just that.
Right.
If the service provider is not able to provide this person with the service, this person goes to another service provider.
Right.
Period. You're trying to keep a client as much as you can with respect to both sides. If that doesn't work out, then bye, Felicia. There's a lot of dogs and a lot of other groomers out there.
Right. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't be afraid to lose a client because, like I said, if you are not afraid and if you're confident in what you do, you lose 2, you get 4 back.
Exactly.
Always happens. Always.
And I
All
used
right,
to be
so-
that way.
Yeah, I know you are.
I was about to say I was very, very sensitive and everything hurt my
But
feelings, especially
I'm
clients.
very proud of you and how you're doing today. And there's other people I'm sure that are listening or can relate. And just work on it. It's gonna make your life emotional and just spiritual so much easier. You don't
Yeah.
stress about that. Just stop stressing about stuff you don't need to be stressing, period. All right, so we have a few minutes left, and I want to ask you if you have anything else to add to this subject first.
The only other thing too, because I know some people also send me questions about this pricing. How do you price things like this? And I know it's a big thing. Um, I price personally. I have, I don't charge from minimal dematting, like little behind the ears and stuff. That just happens. My full body dematting, I charge $100 on top of the groom. So, for example, if my small dogs are 100, they're 200 to demat the whole dog because it's kind of like a whole nother groom. You have to. It's time. You got to do all that. So it ends up being 200. And if I charge $200 to $300 on my doodles, that's another 100 on top of that. And then it's worth it. But also, I will say, really, really, like, take your time to look at my videos, the video that we have on Groom House. It really,
Yes.
really helps because it's broken down, you guys. I mean, I know some groomers are kind of like, oh, I don't need to do this. I don't need to learn. And, dematting is bad. But what benefit are you getting from, keeping that away from yourself? Learning is like you open so many doors. You know what I'm saying? If you learn and you learn more techniques, and if it's something that you feel like maybe I could do this for a customer that has come to me, with tears in their eyes, please don't shave my dog. You may be able to do something and then keep that client long term. There's so many customers that I have that I've only dematted one time, and they have rebooked for the rest of the year, and they keep their schedule. And they're
Yeah.
so scared of losing me that they'll call me on their way that they're stuck in traffic, please, because they value me. Because what did I do? I took my time and I listened to them. I communicated with them. I used techniques, that worked, you know, and it helped me grow. So groomers, I would just tell you guys, just don't be afraid to do that. You really need to like be okay with educating yourself in that aspect. And as far as pricing, don't ever be afraid to price for your time and the skills that you I don't care if Marianne and Joe Blow down the street is charging $25, you know? It doesn't
Listen,
matter.
it's nobody tells you what to do.
Right.
What we're suggesting is keep your mind open.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not going to tell if you don't like dematting. I'm not going to tell you to demat. That's your own business.
That's on your own
That's
choice.
on you. It's your clients. It's your area. It's whatever makes sense for you. But what is it going to take for you to watch a video? And maybe you can find something you can use. And maybe
Right.
that little something will make you a little better groomer, a little richer, a little better clients, and this and that. If not, then you do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
This is what education is all about,
Right.
especially in the non-regulated industry. It's voluntarily that you choose to continue your education. So that's how it is. You go watch, you go to the seminar, you go listen to somebody, you read a book, and then you decide for yourself whether it's going to work for you or not. But at
Right.
least you have that opportunity and your mind is open instead of I don't demat, period. Right?
It's horrible. I don't care what nobody says. I'm never gonna do it. And
Right. Just,
yeah.
and again, don't do it if you don't like it. It's just maybe there's something in your video or other videos, other platforms that talk about dematting. Maybe something is going to talk and speak to you, and
Yeah.
it'll
Most
it'll
definitely.
make your life easier for sure.
Open
Sometimes,
minded.
like I learned to this day, I listened to somebody, and there's not one time that I couldn't take something out of somebody's seminar, workshop, whatever, something, and use it. There's never nothing that I don't learn.
Right.
always. Or somebody talks about something and I'm like, how did I not think about that, right?
Ding. Let me try that. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll try that. And it's either going to work for me or not, but I am going to try it. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. It's just that. And then I wanted to open a can of worms, but I'm not going to. We're going to keep it for another one. I'm just going to ask you a question real quick so we don't talk about it
Okay.
for 5 hours because it's
Okay.
got a potential of a 5-hour conversation.
This whole topic could be a potential for a whole.
Well, yeah, this one, yeah, but I'm going to go out a little bit.
Okay.
How do you feel about cutting down double-coated dogs?
It's not my dog, and that's the customer's dog. If that's what they want to do, if I don't do it, somebody else will.
Okay.
I don't like it. I educate them. Hey, your Pomeranian's hair may not grow back. I don't do shave downs, but I'll scissor them, and I always give them other options.
Okay.
A little scissor trim will look better. It would bring down the hair, but But
I
I've had
got
people
you.
like, no, I want to shave it, shave it.
I got you. Well, okay, so I'm an old timer. I'm going to take 2 minutes to kind of reply to that. Because there's a whole shit show going on Facebook and
girl,
all internet
yes.
about shaving, carving, whatever. So here's what I feel about, how I feel about this. All of a sudden, again, I'm an old timer, right? 35 years ago, everybody was shaving golden retrievers and Labradors and German Shepherds. And nobody,
Huskies, too.
Huskies, and nobody ever said that we harmed and killed the dog. Okay? No one was ever harmed. One thing that I believe is shaving too short in states like ours, California, Arizona, anything with a really brutal sun is not a good idea because there's no insulation between the skin and the sun. And dogs get skin cancer. Dogs get all kinds of burns,
Yeah.
just like us. So again, use your common sense. Be mindful. I'm not saying I'm gonna shave a husky every day, all day, every day. No, I don't want to do that. But I do not agree with we're harming dogs. We're not harming dogs. We're
Right.
making them look ugly, probably. We're making them lose their hair like poms and chow chows. Absolutely. But no one ever killed a dog but by cutting the hair on a double-coated dog. And I will never do it, or maybe I will. I don't want to do it, for sure. But don't be out there blaming groomers of hurting dogs by doing what the client wants.
Exactly.
That's it. I'm done. Thank you very much. It was great. Any questions? Anything we could, before we go? We're good. Damn, we're good. We're good.
We real good.
Thank you, girl. Always pleasure to talk to you.
Always.
Have a good night. We'll talk
Good night.
more for sure.
Most definitely. This was fun.
Yes, bye.
Bye.